Iran's security forces have been ordered to empty the streets of its cities in the next 24 hours in a drive to fight the spread of the new coronavirus. A newly formed commission will be charged with overseeing the emptying of shops, streets and roads as part of a nationwide decision to be implemented within the next 24 hours. Iran announced on Friday that the new coronavirus has claimed another 85 lives, the highest single-day death toll in one of the world's worst affected countries. Satellite images of mass graves in the city of Qom suggest Iran's coronavirus outbreak is even more serious than the authorities are admitting. The latest suspected case of infection was Ali Akbar, who advises the supreme leader on foreign policy. Iran announced that the new coronavirus has claimed another 85 lives, bringing to 514 the overall number of deaths in the country. German Chancellor Angela Merkel urged the head of the National Accord government, Fayez Sarraj, to quickly sign a ceasefire agreement hours after the United Nations announced that its Secretary-General Antonio Guterres had appointed US diplomat Stephanie Williams as acting special representative and head of the UN mission in Libya. She will succeed Ghassan Salami, who announced his resignation earlier this month for health reasons after he served as head of the UN mission in Libya for 2.5 years. The phone call came days after Khalifa Haftar, military commander of the National Army, visited Merkel for talks in Berlin. Lebanese President Michel Aoun informed the United Nations Special Coordinator to Lebanon, Jan Kubes, that the government was working at a rapid pace to implement the reform plan that would address debt, banking restructuring and other financial, administrative and social reforms. Finance Minister Ghazi Wazni also said Thursday that Lebanon's plan to address its financial and economic crisis would meet the recommendations of the International Monetary Fund and be ready within weeks. During his meeting with Kubes on Thursday, Aoun stressed that the government was taking all appropriate measures to combat the coronavirus outbreak and limit its spread through several preventive measures. Thunderstorms packing heavy rains and lightning caused widespread flooding across Egypt, killing at least 5 people as authorities declared a holiday by shuttering schools, government offices and an airport. A child died and 5 people were injured when floods demolished their houses in a rural area in the southern province of Kina, where lightning ignited several fires. Photos and video footage circulated on social media showed flooded roads, damaged bus shelters and broken windows around the country. After touring 7 Arab states to press his country's case in the dispute with Ethiopia over the Nile Dam, Egyptian Foreign Minister Sameh Shoukry visited Brussels and Paris, asking European Union officials to push Ethiopia on signing an agreement with Cairo on the filling and operation of the dam. An EU statement said Shoukry and Borrell exchanged views on regional issues and how to address challenges posed by recent developments in Libya, Syria and the Nile waters, including the Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam. Before his stop in Europe, Shoukry was on an Arab tour that took him to Jordan, Iraq, the United Arab Emirates, the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, the State of Kuwait, the Kingdom of Bahrain and the Sultanate of Oman. The Yemeni government announced that it has suspended its membership in the Hudaydah Redeployment Coordination Committee, holding Houthi rebels responsible for the move. Yemeni Prime Minister Ma'in Abdul Malik has warned that the militia's recent military escalation and recurrent breaches of the UN-sponsored ceasefire in Hudaydah will thwart the Stockholm Agreement. During a phone conversation he held on Thursday with the head of the government team engaged in the Redeployment Coordination Committee, Major General Mohammed Aida, the Prime Minister said, "Such violations clearly demonstrate that militia leaders have never seriously sought to achieve peace." Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu ordered most schools in the country closed as a precaution against coronavirus and called for the formation of an emergency national unity government. He made the offer in a nationally televised address, telling the nation that the virus does not differentiate between Jews and non-Jews or between the political left and right. Israel has imposed a number of tough restrictions to slow the spread of the virus, placing tens of thousands of people into protective home quarantine, ordering all Israelis who return from overseas into quarantine, and barring almost all tourists from entering the country. Tehran warned US President Donald Trump against taking dangerous actions after American forces waged a series of airstrikes against an Iran-backed militia in Iraq that it blamed for a major rocket attack a day earlier. The Pentagon said that these strikes appeared limited in scope and narrowly tailored, targeting 5 weapons storage facilities used by Hezbollah militants, including stores of weaponry for past attacks on US-led coalition troops. In a statement, Iraq's military said the US airstrikes hit 4 locations in Iraq that housed formal Iraqi police and military units, in addition to the paramilitary groups. Iran has asked for an emergency $5 billion loan from the International Monetary Fund to combat the outbreak of the coronavirus, which has killed 429 people in the country. Iran's central bank chief Abdul Nasser Himati said Thursday he made the request last week in a letter to IMF chief Kristalina Georgieva. The international lender has said it stands ready to support countries through a rapid financial instrument. Australia unveiled a massive $11 billion spending plan designed to curb the economic hit from the coronavirus pandemic and avert the country's first recession in 29 years. Prime Minister Scott Morrison announced that nearly an $18 billion package, equivalent to just under 1% of the GDP, which will be primarily targeted at businesses. Australia's economy had already been limping before the coronavirus hit, with raging bushfires and drought slowing growth to a stall. Boeing will suspend most hiring and overtime pay as it works to conserve cash in the face of twin crises over the 737 MAX and a massive slowdown in travel due to coronavirus, the company said Wednesday. Shares of Boeing plunged more than 13% on another bruising day for Wall Street as the company announced that belt-tightening measures after disclosing dozens of MAX plane cancellations. In addition, sources confirmed the aviation giant already essentially tapped a $13 billion loan package finalized just last month. Italy vowed to spend up to €25 billion to fight a coronavirus epidemic that has already killed 631 people and put the country's hospitals and the economy under severe strain. Economy Minister Roberto Gualtieri said half of these resources would be used immediately and the other half stowed away and taped should the health crisis spiral out of control. The announcement came as Italians grappled with a nationwide clampdown on public gatherings that has emptied streets and shuttered everything from churches to restaurants.